Here are 5 things that you're probably not doing to cater to the pain points that these relocation specialists have that can actually become opportunities for you. And if you are doing these 5 things, then power to you. You're in the top percentile to be able to serve a pain point. Now, why is this important? If you are on this channel, if you've watched some of my videos, or if this is your first time, what we do is we cater to relocation specialists who have their day job is to relocate families due to unforeseen events, and the relocation specialists are working for a relocation agency that is been hired by the insurance company, because the insurance company, they do not have the time and or bandwidth to relocate families individually, to find homeowners, Airbnb operators, midterm rental operators like us to be able to keep our properties 100% occupied and profitable. So these relocation specialists on a day-to-day basis have tens of claims. We're talking anywhere from 20 to 30 to even 40 a month, where they're currently working on getting families out, getting families in, getting families relocated, and talking to homeowners like us. As you would imagine, on a day-to-day basis, there are their challenges. They have their challenges when it comes to that with respect to these 5 things. So let's talk about them, and let's talk about how you can position yourself in a way that these 5 pain points become opportunities for you to serve, right? Pain point number 1, and that is availability. Okay, these relocation specialists struggle in a world where there is, hey, when it comes to furnished accommodations, there's either the Airbnb of the world, the short-term rental operators who are looking for short-term stays. The only problem with that is, well, typically if you're a good Airbnb operator, a good Airbnb host, co-host, manager for Airbnbs, you probably have a calendar that's fairly booked, which means when they're looking to relocate a family for the next 2 months, for the next month, for the next 3 months, there is few and far between from available inventory in the marketplace. There just is not that much, because there isn't a specific cohort of operators, and you can become that, who cater to these kind of stays, which means that their inventory shoots down. So number 1 thing is availability. And if they go on Furnish Finder, they might find some stuff, but again, the quality also is diminished. And again, there's not as much inventory available to them for that reason. So availability is one where you can typically always be available by using the strategy where we talk about having multiple listings on your Airbnb account, in being in the databases where they exist, to let them know that, hey, this is where we do business. There's multiple databases. ALE Solutions is one, CRS Temporary Housing. There's a bunch of them out there that you can look into to make yourself available and raise your hand that, hey, you can count on me. And the key thing is that you want to be available even on Zillow constantly, even when you're not available, because they have flexibility due to the lack of inventory to even move a little later than expected. We actually, as a matter of fact, this past week, we recently had a family move in after the date that they actually wanted, because that was when the property was available. So you become the provider and supplier, and therefore you have control, and you get to dictate when the family gets to move in or not. Very important, right? Number 2, very important and tied to this. Why is there so little inventory? Well, part of the reason is because there's not that many homeowners out there who are even, again, catering to these long short-term stays. When we talk about midterm stays or midterm rental, which is a coin term for temporary housing, we're really talking about 30-day stays and more. Short-term stays is usually 30 days or less. That's very typical. Where the line is drawn, again, based on how we talk about it in the industry, a short-term rental can be, a midterm rental is typically really a short rental, because it's not long-term, because traditional long-term investing or long-term rentals are 12 months. And that's actually part of the challenge, because while there might be opportunities that make a good fit, that are actually vacant, that are actually would be a perfect fit in that zip code for that family that's being displaced, when the relocation specialists reach out to these individuals and homeowners who do not have this mindset that they can actually get paid a premium for less months, and because that's exactly what we make here, anywhere from 3 to 5x more than traditional rent, they decline. If you're currently getting value from watching this video, you'll want to make sure you take a second and click below to grab the midterm rental insurance blueprint to help accelerate your process in being able to land these midterm rental insurance contracts with respect to your marketplace. Make sure you click the button below and grab it and continue on with the gems in this video, because they're with the mindset that they're looking for a 12-month lease for stability and less turnover, etc. Whatever that limiting belief is, or whatever that preference is, maybe it is a preference, it still limits the amount of options that are available in the marketplace for these relocation specialists. So you not be that person. Maybe you're optimizing for 12-month leases, but you want to make sure that there's a clause in there that says that we will also be open to engaging into short-term leases, or midterms is not really used that way out there. That's more of an internal in-house word, but shorter term leases for more of a premium. Just make yourself flexible, open up that door, because then when you open up that door, you're opening an opportunity for you to serve even more people, right? So it's important for you to have not only availability, but then at the same time remove the 12-month leases, right? That's what they're facing in the marketplace. So number one, availability, there's lack thereof. Number two, remove the 12-month leases. And number three, right and sweet in the middle, this is actually the most important one, is the reason there is lack of availability. This ties into it is because most people, even if it would be a good fit, if it is perfect for that family, they're not pet friendly. They don't accept pets. That is a huge pain point, because I might be looking at a specific marketplace where there's 1,000 properties, and as soon as I toggle on pet friendliness, I see a 50% decrease in inventory. If it's 100, it's 50. If it's 50, it's 25. I've done it at every marketplace. I see the same trend, and it's the data that is speaking to us, showing us that most homeowners or management companies are not open, or not as privy as having furnished accommodations, one, and B, having pet friendliness. So when you think about this, availability is number one, right? Less than 12-month leases is again another pain point, or the lack of having 12-month leases or less is a pain point number two. The lack of being pet friendliness is pain point number three. These are all opportunities for you to just double down on being able to offer those things to put yourself ahead of the marketplace, and just by just data, give yourself an advantage. Okay. And then number four, response time, right? I actually played the role of a relocation specialist. I always play the role to help my relocation specialists, and I know what they're facing because I'm reaching out to other homeowners to see if there's availability. And guess what? I either get 50% of the time, I don't even get a response back. So with that said, you responding, even if you're not available this week, or even next month. I've had a family wait a month until the property became available. So don't rule yourself out. Don't not respond. Do not respond because you're thinking, oh, I'm unavailable, that's too bad. Always respond. There's a chance that they would be willing to wait and move in, right? So don't rule yourself out. Always respond. And when you do respond, you're actually fostering a relationship on the other side, because these relocation specialists do what for a living? Relocate families. So even if it's not right for this time, it might be right for the next time. So that's why it's actually in your best interest to always respond, to always serve, to always be an option for them for that reason, because you're opening up a relationship that is going to keep on giving if you continue to give back to it. So always respond. That response time is key for them. It's speed. It's dependent on them reaching their quota. There is an incentive by being able to place the number of families that they can place. So it's actually important for you to cater to them, because a pain point is I'm reaching out to a bunch and I'm getting a little return of feedback. And if I am getting the feedback, I might get declined because of lack of availability, lack of willing to do 12-month leases, lack of being pet friendly. And so do not let response time be what does not allow you to actually foster a relationship with the relocation specialist, or even stop you from actually even having a potential conversation to then be able to host a family. Even if it's for the dates that they're asking are not available, always respond to see if there's flexibility. Okay. And number five is, doesn't really impact them, so that's interesting, but it is reality that might not lead to you converting, and that's price gouging, right? You know, when someone reaches out, or I've been reaching out, and even myself, relocation specialists, and they say, "Oh, insurance, how much are they willing to pay, etc." You know, people are catching on. That's fine, but you know, one thing you don't want to do is bait and switch, because that's just a recipe for disaster for them. Because if they take the price back to the adjuster and it's too high because you price gouge, it's wasting your time because it doesn't get approved. And if it doesn't get approved, there's less likely they will come back to let you know that it didn't get approved. They'll go on to the next option, because most people are not communicating ahead of time that, hey, either if you are going to go for a higher price, that hey, the price can be negotiable. If you're going to go for a high price, give different terms and say, hey, if you stay longer, it might be less. If you do stay 1 month, it might be that way. It gives them an option to present to the insurance adjuster. But when you start price gouging, hey, you're baiting and switching. No one likes to be baited and switched. It's like, hey, on this site it says this price, but now you're giving me that price. And then if it gets rejected, then it's least likely that they're going to want to come back, because your prices are just all over the place, and no one likes to experience that. All right, so it's very important that you respect by having measures in place in your listings that basically state what is going to be a premium rate and what is not. The best way that I like to do it is set precedents. It's almost very similar to any industry. The more months you commit, the price goes down. The less that you commit, the price is up. Having those standard language that states that we can explore different lease prices monthly based on the length of the lease. Again, that opens up that point that I said earlier about being flexible to have short-term leases and have different premiums associated with them. So to recap, there's 5 pain points that you must know that you're not doing today, that you're not addressing, that could be opportunities for you to stand out in the marketplace. Rule number 1, or I should say pain point number 1, is lack of availability for these relocation specialists. Number 2 is lack of response time. People just take too long to respond, if they respond at all. There's less than 12-month leases. Having less than 12-month leases is an opportunity for you. The lack thereof of those in the marketplace is a pain point for them, so let it be an opportunity for you. Pet friendliness, there's lack of pet friendly opportunities. That's a pain point for them and an opportunity for you. And then price gouging is an opportunity to actually state your terms accordingly, and a pain point for them as they're going back and the price is not being approved by the adjuster, and then they're not coming back to you, which then kills the opportunity for you, right? So if you focus on these things: availability, response time, being able to have short-term leases less than 12 months, being pet friendly, and not price gouging, you have set yourself to have opportunities and address pain points in a marketplace where relocation specialists face these pain points. And if they're not facing these pain points with you, there's a good chance that they will want to continuously want to book with you. And when they book with you, it means you increase your occupancy, and with that comes profitability. If you got value from this video, make sure you check out my video called "What You Need to Know About Relocation Specialists."